Hey guys, how's it going? So I have a really cool new revolver to show you guys from Heritage. And a lot of you have been telling me in comments throughout my videos that you guys really like your Heritage Barkeep, which is a classic 1873 design, 6-shooter, 22LR, 1873 style grip, but a little snub-nose 2-inch barrel. Well, let's check this out, because if you like this, you might really like the brand new Heritage Barkeep boot. And yes, these are made in the USA, Bainbridge, Georgia, which is pretty cool. Alright, we're going to open this up for the first time together, and let's see what we think here. I haven't actually handled the gun yet. This is my initial raw unboxing and review, but I'm actually pretty excited. Now, this is going to come with an owner's manual. I'm not going to go over it too much here, but I think it's very, very important that you read this, especially if you're new to single action type revolvers like this. It's going to show you safety. There's some certain safety procedures for this that are definitely different than some of the more modern style double action revolvers. Loading, unloading. Please read your manual if you're new to these types of firearms. I think it's very important, especially on these, right? We've got some literature here from the company. Of course, our gun lock. Little tag. We're going to have a tool, and I'm going to show you what this is for in just a little bit. And here is the revolver itself. And put on your boots, or if you don't have boots yet, I guess you might need to buy some, because here is our little boot gun. Look at this little guy. Let's just take a quick peek, and my first thoughts are, this is really cool. It's pretty cute, and I'm liking it. What do you guys think? So what do we have here? Well, this is obviously a new version, an improvement, if you will, different style of this Heritage Rough Rider Barkeep. So we're going to have a single action revolver. This is going to be a side gate loader, which I'm going to show you guys in 1 second. We can see that orange safety disc that shipped with it from the factory, which is going to show us that this is clear, which is good for demonstration in this video. Little tag, read your owner's manual before use. If you know about these, you guys know, but read that manual if you're new. Alright, so we can see a couple things that are instantly different on this than the regular Barkeep. First of all, we have the bird's head grip, which is really good looking and also very small, easy to grip onto. And this is a pug nose. 1-inch barrel. Now this is chambered in 22 long rifle. They do make 22 mag cylinders. In this case, they're going to recommend actually not to use the magnum loading, because with a 1-inch barrel, it might not stabilize properly, and you might end up with some keyhole shots. So I'll tell you guys that right away. This is basically a little 22LR rig that's going to be pretty easy to shoot, I suspect, and also rather easy to concealed carry. So this is based off of the old Colt 1873 model, the single action, basically cowboy action type gun, right? Which is cool, lots of nostalgia. These are fun to shoot, take to the range. Very low recoil, basically almost none. Makes them cheap to shoot, makes them fun to shoot all day if you want to and you're bored. Also makes these very fine firearms to get children into shooting, which is an excellent thing to do, and there's a lot of enjoyment in doing that, as a lot of you guys probably already know. So we're going to have our hammer here. We can see a large spur. And this is going to have 4 clicks. Some people say it stands for Colt, C-O-L-T, right? The first click is going to be the old Colt safety notch. Now, Taurus is going to definitely tell you that you do not want to use this as a safety, but that is why the first notch is there, because this is mechanically very similar to that original Colt 1800s design. Our second click, that's going to be our loading click, and we'll show you how to load this in just 1 second. The third click is a little bit subtle, but it's not really going to be of any consequence to you. And then the fourth and final click, that's going to be fire. That's going to be, if you pull the trigger, the hammer will go forward. And if this hammer blocker or manual safety is not engaged, the firearm will fire. Now, one thing about these, and I did a review on one of these, more of the full-size Rough Riders. not too long ago. And the manual safety, I immediately said, you know what? I wish it didn't have this. I don't like it there at all. Because it wasn't on the original Colt single action. Now, I read the comments on all my videos, so make sure you leave comments here and I'll definitely read them and reply to as many as I can. And here's the thing, this is why I like doing this channel. I learn along with all of you guys. You guys teach me things too, and I'd like to thank you for that. I'm kind of 50-50 on this safety now. I'm kind of understanding it a little bit more. A lot of guys said, well, hold on a minute. Not only does it add safety, but you guys use it for training youth and young people where you want them to get used to using a safety on a firearm. And I'm like, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. Also, people said, well, if they were to be in a situation where they were going to dry fire or practice letting their hammer go forward, they're not going to risk damaging the cylinder, because under no uncertain terms, you should never dry fire this, especially without this safety engaged, the hammer blocker, because that could actually make the firing pin come in contact with the cylinder, since this is a rim fire, damage, destroy your firearm. So with those things considered, I'm still not saying I love the manual safety, but it does make a little bit of sense. And a lot of you guys made your case pretty well for why you like it. Some of you guys are still going to hate the safety. Hey, do your thing. That's the awesome thing about firearms. There's lots of choices out there, but I do understand it. So we have a short little snubby gun, but it still has some weight to it. We're going to have a steel barrel. We're going to have an alloy frame. This is going to be black oxide, the grip frame here, the frame and the barrel. Very nice finish. Take a quick look at this together. Nice. Nicely done. Now look at these grips. This features the bird's head grip with the small little curvature here. These have engraved wood stocks on it. And look at that. Look at that snake. That is awesome. That reminds me of the Old West with that snake there with its fangs out, ready to bite. It also reminds me of Don't Tread on Me. So I really like these grips. Nice engraving there, and it just adds some style. And of course adds some stippling and some grip texture where the snake is engraved and etched into this wood here. So very nice. So here's your manual safety. When it's in the up position, that's going to be putting a lever. I'll show you guys right here. It's going to be maneuvering a little physical lever. So we have a barrier of steel there blocking the hammer, the strike face of it, from being able to make contact with that firing pin. So that is your manual safety. Now your main safety is obviously right here in your head, always following the rules of gun safety. And there's going to be some other procedures that I'll outline here briefly, but definitely go check that owner's manual. Now, I have that orange safety disc in here. We're good to go, guys, right? When you see red, red means fire. So that means if I were to pull the trigger right now, and if there were to be ammunition in this little revolver, it would fire a shot. So that's how the safety works. Now, some revolvers you might be familiar with have a little lever. It might be over here that you push and the cylinder would swing out to load it. This does not work that way. This is the old cowboy action 1873 type design where we have a loading gate, which is covered right here. We're going to swing this gate over to the right. Again, orange disc for purposes of this video, and this is how these do ship. So if you remember, this is where these notches come into play. The very first little baby notch, that's holdover from the old Colt safety notch. This is not considered a safety. Don't use it as a safety. Second notch here. Just one more little click. Now our cylinder rather, is going to be able to rotate freely. And if the orange disc wasn't in there, you'd be able to see holes. These are your chambers for each individual 22 long rifle. So depending if you were going to be shooting it right away, or if you're going to carry it, there's two methods that they recommend doing, that they insist upon you doing, I should say, in the manual. So the safety is going to be on this whole time while we would do this. If you were to carry this, and I don't know, let me know what you guys think about carrying a 22 for self-defense. Some of you guys really might be wanting to carry this as a backup, or maybe even in some cases your primary carry with that little 1-inch barrel, the small little grip there. So if you're going to carry this or not shoot it right away, here's what you're going to do. You're going to find that first hole there, the first chamber. You're going to load one round, okay? Then you're going to rotate it over and skip one. Okay, so skip one, leave it empty, come over and load 4. And then that is going to put your hammer rusting upon an empty chamber. They would like it to be rusting with an empty chamber and with this safety still deployed. Now, I'm not going to go into too much more with this because it's all in the manual that I suggest you read, but your hammer could be rusting upon this manual safety here, as well as an empty chamber. That is the safe condition, according to Heritage, in which you would carry this little single action boot, right? Now, if you're going to shoot it right away, then it's actually fine with that safety to stay on the whole time. Loading notch here. Second notch there, second click of the hammer. You could load up all 6, keeping your finger out of the trigger guard, keeping the manual safety on, engaged, meaning blocked, right? Till you get up there, acquire your targets, you're at the range, get that safety off, and then you could pull that trigger and fire, because now we're firing. And you would repeat every time, because we're in a safe direction, we're following all of our rules of gun safety, and we're good. So read the manual. It'll kind of reiterate what I said in a more specific type of way. All right, single action. So that means when the hammer's forward, our trigger is not going to do anything. The only thing this trigger does is one single act of dropping that hammer. Whereas your double action, when you pull the trigger, it's going to rotate the cylinder, cock the hammer, and fire all in one motion with a long, usually heavy trigger pull, right? Okay. This one, single action. So C-O-L-T. I know, it's kind of corny, but that's how an old timer taught me. He said that's what the 4 clicks stand for. You read cold out loud to yourself when you're doing it. So when we pull the trigger, it's just going to drop the hammer. Typically, this is going to result in a very smooth, crisp trigger pull. I do have my safety engaged. I do have the orange disc. I'm just going to see how this feels. Wow. That is crisp. I'm just going to let it go one time, guys. This is just for purposes of education. The manual is going to tell you not to ever dry fire this. I encourage you not to as well, but hey, if I damage my hammer or if I damage this little bar here, it's on me. I'll pay for whatever it takes to get it taken care of. But I just want you guys to see the trigger pull, and it's hard for me to truly simulate that, but there is an orange disc present in the cylinder and also here with the manual safety blocking. Okay, I'm feeling for any type of play. There's no play, no stacking, and it just crisply dropped that hammer. So wow. So you guys saw how it looked there. I'm going to kind of keep my thumb here to keep it from slamming forward. Wow. Very, very nice little trigger, which I think you guys are kind of used to. My other Heritage revolvers also have a very nice little single action trigger. So yeah, here's where we're at with this little boot gun. I'll give you guys one more look at this right here. Now, not only does this make it easier to concealed carry, potentially, or to stow away, glove box, tackle box. You guys are probably thinking of different things like that. Obviously, boot, right? But it also, I think the fact that this has a little short barrel on it and this small little bird's head grip. Back to you guys again in the comments. So many of you are teaching or have taught your young ones, your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors, your cousins, whoever, how to shoot on these. I think this is going to lend itself well to those little hands. So I think this might make the little ones even a little more confidence inspired, you know. And that's the most important part, is for somebody to feel confident, feel like they have control of the firearm. So I really like that quite a bit. We've got an overall width of about 1.5 inches, height of about 4.86, and a length of 6.38. So really not a bad little package, but this has enough weight to it where I'm certain it's going to still have literally basically zero recoil. I think the little ones will be able to handle it really well. Now, as far as the sights go, there's just a little notch here in the frame. And that's it. There's nothing on the barrel, this little 1-inch barrel. This is basically point and shoot, get off me type gun. And that's always been the philosophy behind the boot gun, which was, you know, famously used in the Old West. And we've had small little Derringers, but I think this is a little more, you know, practical than a Derringer with those 6 shots. All right, well, I've got the original Barkeep here. Let's just do a real quick little side-by-side. One more thing I wanted to mention, because I noticed this when I'm picking it up. Be very careful with this. You want to keep those fingers back. Don't accidentally sweep yourself, because with only a 1-inch barrel, it can be real easy to get those hands out in front. I mean, it's actually easy enough with this sometimes, with the little 2-inch barrel, but we're going to notice a huge difference, so just be careful. You know what I'm saying? One more thing. This tool. So basically when you're unloading it, it's going to be the same type thing where you're going to have it on the loading, unloading notch. Without the orange disc, you would see your spent brass. So you're going to basically safe direction. Don't sweep yourself while you're doing this, guys. You're going to come through here and you're going to punch out that brass. You can see I'm putting a little bit of tension there. You can see it kind of, maybe the camera's picking that up. You can see it poking a little bit on the orange disc. So this is your way that you're going to get rid of that. So that's how you eject the brass out of it, just with this little tool. It slows you down, but that's kind of a good thing, especially with the prices of ammo. It kind of slows you down having to load and unload this, and that's definitely what this little tool is meant for. That is included with the revolver. All right, let's take a look at the side-by-side. The Barkeep, very small little revolver. Now here's the boot. Wow. Just look at the difference, guys. Like, insane. Inch less barrel, way smaller grip frame and grip with this bird's head instead of the more traditional 1873 style. See if I can kind of line these up a little bit. Grip to grip, barrel to barrel. The grips aren't shaped exactly the same, but that's basically where we're at. Big difference there. Front to back. This has a little different curvature, but it definitely gets it a lot more compact. And while this grip is very comfortable, the standard revolver grip, I think some of you are going to like this little bird's head even more. Especially for, you know, children or people just with smaller hands in general. Maybe some of the ladies out there. And obviously this is good for anyone who just wants a smaller, shorter, more concealable little firearm. Alright, well, I had a lot of fun reviewing this. I think it's really cool. It looks great. It feels great in the hand. The trigger's excellent. Who doesn't like a little cowboy action gun, right? So I'm going to have to get both of these out to the range very soon and get some more footage. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.